What have I told you? Elon Musk isn't just building companies. He's actually trying to build a whole new reality. Yep, beyond the rockets and the electric cars, there is a complete, step-by-step philosophy for the future of all of humanity. So today, we're going to map out that grand vision, from its surprisingly simple origin all the way to its mind-bending final conclusion.
This isn't just some throwaway line he said once. For Musk, this question he had as a teenager is the absolute starting point for everything else. It is the fundamental why that drives the what of SpaceX, Tesla, and pretty much all his other ventures. To really get his plan, you have to start right here.
So, his search for an answer, which was actually inspired by the sci-fi classic The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, led him to a pretty wild conclusion. The universe itself is the answer. He believes that humanity's core mission, our entire purpose, is to expand our collective consciousness so we can get smart enough to finally figure out the right questions to ask.
Okay, but how on earth do you expand the consciousness of an entire species? Well, for Musk, the answer is technology. He's building the tools to create what he calls a global mind, basically a single, interconnected network of human intelligence. This is the logic behind everything from brain-computer interfaces like Neuralink to global communication systems.
This comparison right here really reveals his intent for X. He sees a lot of platforms as just simple dopamine machines designed to keep you scrolling. But his vision for a global town square is something different. It's a place to connect thinkers and speed up the formation of that collective mind. Of course, this does raise a big question. Is one single town square really the best way to do that? Or could it just create massive echo chambers?
This quote really captures his deep faith in the power of connection. Projects like Starlink, which are designed to bring internet to every single corner of the globe, are all just pieces of this massive puzzle. But it also brings up a really critical point. In a world that's more and more reliant on a single global network, who's actually in control of the information flowing through it?
So, once humanity is fully connected, once that global mind is switched on and humming along, we'll have the collective brainpower to create something truly transformative: artificial intelligence. And according to Musk, this leap forward is going to trigger the single biggest disruption in all of human history.
And here's the timeline. Now, this isn't some prediction for a far-off, distant future. Musk believes that within our lifetimes, maybe in less than 2 decades, the very idea of needing to work to survive will become completely obsolete. And that has profound implications for every single aspect of our lives.
This timeline really maps out the 3 stages of our economic evolution as he sees it. Right now, we're in the necessity stage. We work to live. But we're on the cusp of the choice stage, where work becomes more like a form of self-expression, a hobby. And that transition will eventually lead to the abundance stage, an era of what he calls universal high income, where we're all free to pursue our passions without needing a traditional job.
Let's just do a quick thought experiment. Imagine a world where AI and robotics can create any product or service you can possibly dream of instantly and for free. That's the world Musk is talking about. So in a world without scarcity, what happens to our sense of value? I mean, how do we even organize society without the basic concept of money? Okay, so if we can use AI to create a world of total abundance, what's to stop us from creating entire simulated realities that are completely indistinguishable from our own? This is where Musk's thinking takes its most fascinating and honestly, mind-bending turn, climbing to the highest possible level of abstraction, the simulation theory. Just think about the rate of progress here. 50 years ago, we had Pong. Today, we have these massive photorealistic online worlds. Now, just imagine that trend continuing forward another 50 or 100 years. Musk argues it's pretty much a certainty that video games will become totally indistinguishable from the physical world. So, if it's almost inevitable that civilizations will create countless simulated realities, what are the odds that we just happen to be in the one, single, original, base reality? Musk puts the probability as pretty high that we are not, that we are, most likely, characters in someone else's super advanced game. What do you think about that?
So, if we're potentially living in a simulation, and we're hurtling towards a future with no work, what's the point of it all? Right? How should we act today? For Musk, after all of this high-level abstraction, the answer is surprisingly simple and practical. It all comes down to one core principle.
This is his advice for anyone who wants to make a real impact. It's not about chasing money or status. It's really just a simple accounting principle for your life. Focus on creating more value for society than you consume from it. In his view, that's the only path to a meaningful life and ultimately true success.
Just look at Tesla. Musk didn't set out just to build another car company. He set out to solve the huge problem of sustainable energy. By focusing on creating a useful product that solved a real-world problem, he also created a multi-billion-dollar company. The money was just a byproduct of creating all that value.
We've just traced the entire arc of Musk's vision, from a philosophical question about meaning to a technological plan for a global mind, and all the way to an audacious prediction for our economic and even our metaphysical future. But the real question is, what are you going to do with this information? Ultimately, his vision forces all of us to confront this really profound challenge. If a future of abundance frees us from ever having to work again, we're going to have to find a brand new source of purpose. And as we think about a future that might be a lot closer than we think, maybe the ultimate question isn't what AI will do for us, but what we will choose to do with ourselves.